What's up? What's up? What's up? Wow. Show number 2. What's up, y'all? Compra Casa San Diego, real estate and mortgage info en tu idioma. Thank you all again for taking the time out of your day to check us out. Check us out on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Shameless plug right there. Check us out on Spotify, all your different platforms. You'll be able to check us out soon. So thank you again, first and foremost, for taking the time out of your day to check us out and hang out with us. This is your show. This is your show to ask questions, to get yourself informed, get yourself educated, to learn about the home buying process. Why? Because it's not that hard. And you're going to need a place to live. So why not own your own place? Why pay your landlord's mortgage? First of all, he don't like you. He has the opportunity to raise your rate, 10% every year, I think, over and over, through and through.
More if they
10%
want to.
year over year.
Possibly kick you out.
Why does the landlord gotta be a he?
Okay, she don't like you.
You can't do anything to your house.
Can't do anything to your house. Paint it hyper green that you'd be wanting to. All joking aside, there's important information that you all need to learn, and that's what this show is about. We want to make this very fun, interactive. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. Shoot us a DM. Give us a call. There will be a phone number that you can call us directly that's dedicated to this to this show. So please check us out. Para ustedes que nos están escuchando hoy, muchas gracias por tomar el tiempo de su día en vernos aquí en YouTube o escucharnos en Spotify. Este show se llama Compra Casa San Diego. Es para informarlos, educarlos en el proceso de la compra de una casa. Entonces esperamos que se vayan a divertir con nosotros y que nos siguen viendo cada semana.
Y que nos hagan preguntas.
Por favor, llámenos, mándanos un DM. Es importante que nosotros sabemos que nos están viendo primeramente, pero más importante que tengan preguntas para poder ayudarlos. Y todos estamos aquí.
¿Y cuáles
para
son sus necesidades para así también poderlos guiarlos?
Así es. Entonces, aquí los esperamos. So with that said, as always, lots of important information, lots of different topics coming out. We all know that bad news sells, unfortunately. And the biggest headlines that we've been having lately has to do with interest rates. If you all heard the word the Fed, that stands for the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve. The man, basically, it's the man that's keeping us down. The Federal Reserve controls the central interest rate. So they have been climbing steadily in the last, 12, 24 months, give or take. They've been at its highest, I believe, in the past 10 to 15 years. Now, the Fed interest rate, just so you know, doesn't directly correlate to your mortgage interest rate or to your auto loan interest rate or to your credit card interest rate. It does affect it. It's a trickle-down effect. And so for that reason, we are experiencing mortgage rates at their highest that they've been, in the last 10, 15 years, give or take. But don't let that scare you. Don't let that scare you from buying a house and taking advantage of what's in front of you right now.
You're scaring me a little, David.
Don't.
Highest they've been in 15 years.
Right? It is what it is. But and I'm glad you said that. Highest it's been in the past 15 years, because what was available to you 2 years ago, or what your particular situation was 2 years ago, is not going to be the same right now. And so that's
a very important thing. What was available 2 years ago, it was unheard of.
What yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Exactly.
If y'all catch my drift, if you know what I'm talking about. And so that key word, all this revolves, around affordability. So, Omar, school me. Affordability.
All right. Well, affordability and interest rates go hand in hand, right? The question is always, the question that we want to lead with is, when is a good time to buy? And affordability and interest rates go hand in hand with that answer. We talk a lot about the fact that interest rates are high. Absolutely. Does that mean that you can no longer afford? Well, you have to make sure you understand first what your threshold for affordability is, and then let us find the actual number that gets you there. So if you were to say $1 million at 8% versus $1 million at 3%, then yes, there's a big difference. Right. But that's not how we approach purchasing a home. That's not how we approach any investment, right? We find out what it is that you're able to buy, right? And then we
Match the price.
yeah, we match, and then we kind of basically tailor everything to fit that budget, right? Whether it's a budget, whether it's a specific price point, that's what we do. So I talk a lot about affordability being the main issue because people throw out interest rate as, oh, interest rates are high. Well, does that even matter if if you can only afford $3,000? There is something equivalent to $3,000. There's a price for $3,000. Yes, it's going to be different because of rates, but the affordability is a question. So to all the people that actually say, I'm not going to buy until interest rates are lower, that's a wrong approach. Okay, we have to retrain ourselves and to say, okay,
Debunk
what
that.
is my threshold that I can afford, and let's do some reverse engineering, right? Let's work from there and let's figure out what that gets you.
What price matches your payment.
Instead of just saying, hey, you know what? Rates are high. I'm not gonna look at anything. That's to me the approach is important. So that's always what I like to start off with as far as affordability.
How many times have we all heard, I wish I would have bought 2 years ago or 3 years ago when rates were low or when price points were low?
Wish I would have bought in high school.
Well, you got to consider what position were you at 2 or 3 years ago? Were you able to buy? We talked about this yesterday. You need to be ready to buy. And there are several different factors in your readiness or your ability to buy. And this is true. You have to be mentally ready to buy. Maybe you're not in that state yet. You're younger, you want to party, and that's all good. And it's all good, right? Because we were all in that same place, but you weren't mentally ready to buy. Were you physically ready to buy? For whatever reason that might look like, were you physically ready to buy? Maybe you weren't physically working at that time. So you had no employment. You weren't able to purchase, right? Income, it's the simple mathematics. Or financially ready to buy. Were you financially ready 2 or 3 years ago to buy? So don't get down on yourself thinking, oh, shoot, I missed the boat. You didn't miss the boat. The boat's still here. It's still waiting for you. We're ready to go on a cruise. When you call us, where's my captain's hat? We're ready to go take you on that cruise. Come with us. We can show you how to get there through this show and through the questions that you all ask. And so, affordability. Rick.
I mean, just going back into the interest rate, we hear this all the time with people that we just meet, people at an open house. Perfect example, I was at an open house this weekend, and a family walks in, Chula Vista house. His kids go to school in the area. His wife's mom lives in that neighborhood, but they own a townhome in Spring Valley. But he's ready to sell. He's ready to move on. His kids are growing. They're outgrown that townhome. But his wife thinks that the interest rates are too high. So immediately, it's that, the interest rate. And I think people get so caught up in what they hear in the media. The interest rates are too high. San Diego's too expensive. And they should be thinking about, okay, well, let me sit down with a professional. Let me go over my finances and let's see where am I at. How much money am I going to be able to pull from this house that I could put into my new mortgage? And is the payment going to be a little bit higher? Maybe it would be, you know what I mean? But if they could afford it and it makes sense and the kids can live closer to the school and they can live closer to the mom, right, why wouldn't you do it? Why would you think like, oh my God, the interest rates are too high, so I can't do it. Right. And that is the mindset right now.
Yeah. And you said something very important. They may even be comfortable with it. They're just not willing to take that first step, which is let's just put information in front of them, right? Mm-hmm. Because what if using the equity of that home puts them in the same payment range as they're now, right? Yep.
Right, and the rate is something that can adjust if you decide to refinance. So let's talk about equity because there's some stats nationally and locally here in the state of California. So national stats say in 2022, the national average of equity built was $64,000. But in Cali, it's $141,000. So let's talk about leverage.
In 2 years, what other investment vehicle is going to give you that return on it?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
huge. That's huge.
Maybe crypto.
Let's not even go there.
That's
That's
show
for
number-
another show
that's show
and
number
another
3.
day, not today.
Wrong show, guys.
But imagine 141,000 could put a buyer with the 20% they need, paying their closing costs if they have to, and potentially even paying off some debt. I mean, we've helped homeowners pay off their vehicles, pay off their credit cards, get keys to a new house, and still have savings.
Well, I just had a first-time buyer that we helped 2 years ago. Bought a townhome in Eastlake, and he just recently reached out to us because he's ready for something bigger, and he has over $115,000 that he could put towards his new property. So, it's only a matter of the right property hitting the market for him to make that move.
And
but 2 years.
Right. And how much did it cost him to get into the door?
He got into that property with 5%.
5% down. Decent interest rate, and you know what? And he's not scared of the new interest rate. Right. He's just seeing all the equity that he has built, right. And he actually got a roommate, right?
Well, he had a roommate for a second, but that didn't work out. So he has a 2-bedroom, and the main reason why he wants to upsize is because he wants space for his dog.
Hey,
There you go.
Canine.
That's also awesome.
valid.
So,
Either a dog or a wife, whatever.
I'm sure when
right?
he first bought, he wasn't in the like in a higher paying position that he probably is currently.
Correct.
Now.
So now he's
You
making
know,
more
he had a
money, and
roommate
that's another reason
because-
why he reached out. He's like, "Oh, I made X amount this year," and
Exactly.
so he's like, "Now I'm ready to see what my next move is going to be." And he's young, and he has his own business, but his head is in the right place. He's thinking like, "Okay,
Onward, upward.
how do I get better?" And like how you mentioned earlier, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you weren't making the income that you're making now, right? So yeah, home prices went up, but so did salaries.
Agreed.
And so
And we'll keep doing so. So yes, interest rates are high right now, and who's to say that you're still going to be in the same exact, paying position that you are at work right now today?
Mira,
In 2 years.
pero Mirna, compré hace 3, 4 años, tengo una tasa de interés de 3% fijo por 30 años. ¿Por qué me quisiera deshacer de esa tasa?
Hay miles de razones porque alguien se quiere mover de su casa. Si compraron un condominio al 3%, como dice Ricardo, este cliente, su casa le costó, ¿qué tal? Unos 460 más o menos. 460, sí, al 3%, pero ya no está cómodo en esa propiedad. Él entró con el miedo de decir, me voy a agarrar un roommate. Voy a agarrar un roommate para esto. Ahora, sí, el interés es ponle que ahorita es un 6.75, tal vez. Realmente una tasa de ese fracción realmente no es alta. La cosa es de que nos mal acostumbramos a los intereses que estábamos durante la temporada de COVID. Esos intereses fueron un tiempo que nadie lo pensaba. Mucha gente tomó ventaja y ahora para salirse de algo que fue ilógico es difícil. Pero haciendo los movimientos, vamos a ver el plusvalía, que en 2 años tuvieron unos $100,000 de ganancia y los pueden convertir para el enganche de su nueva casa a una tasa de interés que realmente no está tan alta. Una tasa de interés alta estamos hablando del 15-20%.
Yep.
Y con un 7 todo el mundo está corriendo y se va a acabar el mundo. Eso no es lógico. Es mirar su pago mensual. Si con el 7% tienen un pago cómodo, el interés solamente es un número.
But even
y
for
hay que
those
mirarlo.
people, for those people that bought, during COVID or refinanced into that incredible interest rate, right? That sometimes some of those people, they feel like they're stuck.
Right.
Like, okay, well, why would I get rid of this interest rate? Okay, yeah, why would you get rid of this interest rate? But let's not think like that. Let's think, what can you do with this? Can you pull some equity and purchase a second property, keep that property as a rental because you know that you can rent it for, twice as much as what your mortgage is going to be. So, you can pull all that equity, put it into a new place or rent it out, charge double what your mortgage payment is going to be. And yes, the rate may be higher, but then you can use that difference to pay that
Or
part of your
Airbnb it.
mortgage. And then you just sit and wait for the rates to drop again.
I have
right?
a question for Omar, but I want to jump back to Mirna's client situation. And let's say he loves his house. He doesn't ever want to move. He likes his neighbors. He has a great time with them, yada, yada, yada. But within the last 4 years that he's owned a house, he's accumulated 2 credit cards that are maxed out. He just bought himself a killer truck that has $1,000 payment, and he got a badass boat, whatever. Each one of those debts carry their own interest rate, right? So you may have a 3%, but when you combine every interest rate, it's going to be much higher. So, Omar, talk to us about what a blended interest rate is for a household and how that works out.
So a long time ago, I was at this training, and the person, it was during high interest rates as well. We were like, this is a long time ago. And the guy says, don't fool yourselves, right? Be open-minded, because you can't say you're not willing to pay a 7% rate, but yet you're paying 25% to all your creditors, right? So the blended rate is basically if you were to sum all your debt, right? The total, including your mortgage,
3% mortgage,
3%
plus
mortgage,
your 10%
credit cards,
card.
department stores, auto loans, right? And then you basically throw in all the monthly payment, right? And then you get the rates for everything, and then you kind of average everything out. You're not paying, the only thing you're paying 3% on is a mortgage. And yes, that's the highest balance, but when you're paying 20, 30, 50%, everything adds up. So your whole debt in general is not 3%. Your whole debt is going to be in the neighborhood of 15, 16, 18%.
Close, if not at double digits. Yeah.
To your point, right? And this is something, I made this note. I recently recently attended an event where Grant Cardone, if you guys don't know him, is really, really, really very ambitious mindset guy. He says this: don't let your assets become a liability. Okay, so going back to what you're saying, 3%, right? What is the 3% doing for you? If, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, consumer debt is at an all-time high, by the way. This is, and I'll bring the stat next time because it's super important. You're maxed out in credit cards, you're maxed out in everything, right? And yet you're stuck to that 3%. Well, let's talk about what you said. Let's convert that equity, pay off all your debt, and then use that, whatever's left over, for a new purchase. So that is allowing you to actually take advantage of what you've built, right? The equity you've built, and then put yourself in a better position financially. Blended rate is something that people ignore and you need to be made aware of. So again, think about the house as a tool that can, in essence, put you in a better financial position, whether it's debt or whether it's to invest in another home. Yeah, and I think that's something that people
and for those people at home,
yeah,
who are listening, I would be curious to know how many of those people are gonna, open up their bank statements and see how much their interest rate is going to be, because a lot of people don't even know.
They don't even consider that.
I don't even know.
They're just focused on, I have a small mortgage, but then I have $1,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
I had a client that actually called me and said, Mirna, quiero sacar un HELOC porque hice la matemática de todas mis tarjetas y me mandó una fórmula. Era 44% en 7 tarjetas de crédito.
I'm pretty sure that's what I paid.
Me dice 44 y aparte mi casa.
Well, speaking of that, I just checked my American Airlines that has a $3,000 balance, and the interest rate is 29.99%. So a month is $107 that I could have been spending on something else.
And it's not tax deductible.
And it's not tax deductible.
We need
so I'm like,
we need to do a
goodness,
refinance.
I didn't even know it was 29.9%.
I
get
think
those
this
travel
is
points,
this
though.
is a very important topic, and I'd like to repeat that in Spanish, because for those Spanish speakers that are watching us, para Omar y Mirna, ¿qué es un interés mezclado, por decir?
Básicamente, un interés mezclado es cuando tomas todas tus tarjetas de crédito. Hay que decir, tienes tu Macy's, tu carro, la moto. Ahorita mucha gente anda comprando motos como a toy. ¿Por qué?
Porque está tan alto la gasolina.
No, porque me dicen, como mi pago de mi casa está tan cómodo, hay que subirle a todo. El problema está que los juguetes, tarjetas de créditos, el carro de quien sea, porque todo el mundo le estás financiando a otras personas, que es lo peor que uno puede hacer. No les firmen a nadie porque después no pueden comprar propiedad. Todos esos intereses, si usted hace la matemática, me va a pagar, tengo un cliente, 44%. Que aparte lo peor es de que no es deducible de impuestos. Comparado a su 2% o 3% en su préstamo, que la tasa de interés es tan baja que las deducciones son mínimas. Entonces, lo que uno está haciendo ahorita es combinar las deudas con la casa y le damos un interés, hay que decir un 7%, que todo va a ser deducible de impuestos, va a tener más para sus ahorros, para poner en sus cuentas de retiro y va a tener un pago más cómodo. Pero la gente le da temor. Porque 7, comparado a las tarjetas de aquí, mi amigo, 30%.
La respuesta a la pregunta es ¿cuándo un 7% es mejor que un 3%? Cuando el 7% te elimina
Exactamente.
50,000, 60,000 dólares de deuda, ¿verdad? Ese es el razonamiento detrás de del tema, ¿no? De que
Conclusión.
no es tu casa y todo lo demás. Todo es tu situación financiera. No lo ignores, no te pongas en esa posición, ¿verdad? Y toma ventaja
Del
la
plusvalía. Del plusvalía.
All right, you guys convinced me. I'm gonna call my loan officer right after this.
Great
Sitting
segue
at
to
the
that,
table.
Chanel. And so, who is your loan officer? We are your team to help you with that. Compra Casa San Diego. This is your show, real estate and mortgage information en tu idioma. We want to make this a fun, interactive show, but it's important information for y'all to understand. Who of you knew what what a blended interest rate was? ¿Cuáles de ustedes sabían que hay cierta cosa como un interés mezclado, por decir? Entonces, por medio de este show, aquí estamos para ayudarlos a entender, educarlos de las diferentes posiciones o situaciones que uno va a estar. Entonces, esperamos que sigue nos escuchándonos. Check us out. Instagram, YouTube. Please ask questions. Hit us up all the time. We're here to help. So I want a quick segue and just go to another question that we all have been getting or have been hearing is wanting to wait on pricing and rates to drop? Question mark. Right? And I gag every time I hear somebody say, "Yeah, I'm just gonna hold off and wait." What are you waiting for? So Chanel, tell us about a situation or maybe something that you've come across.
I think I've been wanting to purchase my own home since I got into the business, which was 7 years ago. Could I afford it? Absolutely not. So when I was finally able and ready to, afford a home, qualify for a home loan, that was when I made it happen. Obviously with a little push from my mentors, Omar and Diego, a big push. But nonetheless, it's imperative to do so when you can. So a lot of us think it's impossible. It's definitely not impossible. Again, I said, I wish I could have bought in when I was 15, when the home prices were super, less than what they are now. Well, I was in high school. What?
Right.
How can you think that way? So I think we need to debunk that. All of us. I think everybody has a little bit of, that in them. All of the consumers.
I wish I would have been able
2
to.
years
or
ago,
whatever,
or I'm gonna wait. I'm
but
gonna
again,
do this.
Take yourself back to that time. Were you ready?
No. 2 years ago, were you ready? No.
Maybe you were locked up. You weren't ready.
And who's to say in 2 years from now you won't be making more money than you are now?
Right.
And I think that's what we forget to remember is that we're always moving forward. We're always pushing on, hustling to make more money, to do the next, investment, to make it happen. To maybe start renting out your car. There's little services like that.
Right.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think that's important. Even like San Diego's a military town. And we had a young guy that was stationed out here and right away went into a purchase in a community called Ote Ranch. And the price was good. He had his housing allowance and he was able to get some of his shipmates to rent from him. And he got orders less than 3 years later. And he was 22 when he bought the house. And basically, before he was 25, he got orders to go to Virginia. We sold the property, and his net equity was over $160,000. So he was able to pretty much pay almost what he wanted to pay for in Virginia. The majority of it was to not have a mortgage, and it was a duplex. So it still was going to be able to generate rental income, right? Income. So there was a lot of, that was such a great feeling for our active duty to be able to leverage the VA benefit and to be able to leave California with 160,000.
Two stories like that, very near and dear to my heart. Real quick, shout out to Mike Butterfield and Luke Turner. Y'all know who you are. Similar situations, and it's happened over and over and over again. So, military is another topic that we'll get into, but I want to get back to affordability and state of mind or state of position that you're at, or whatever that is, because it's important, right?
I completely agree. And what if that 22-year-old client of yours didn't have the correct mindset?
Right. Right. At 22.
Yeah, he didn't think he could afford it.
Right.
He was
Right.
like, well,
No
I'm
way.
just getting this housing allowance, and let's put the housing allowance to work for you, right? You don't have to put any money down. Actually, the seller paid his closing costs.
And I forgot to say real quick, thank you for your service to all our military men and women that are out there. Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought it'd be important for us to
Yeah.
make sure that we make it.
No,
Es,
definitely.
es importante entender que estas historias son real, ¿no? O sea, son clientes, se puede decir como ustedes, ¿no? O sea, como nosotros. O sea, no son personas que llegaron con cientos de miles de dólares a comprar. No, ellos simplemente se pusieron con la mentalidad de contactar a alguien que les pudiera guiar, y es el mensaje, ¿no? Es el mensaje que estamos tratando de dar, ¿no? O sea, aquí estamos para poder guiarlos, para poder educarlos. Los ejemplos que hemos compartido son 140,000, 150,000, el ejemplo, ¿no? O sea, estos son historias de dinero de personas que se han podido reales liquidarlos. No hace 20 años, no hace miles de años, hace un año, hace 6 meses.
4 meses.
Es todo esto real. Y regresando a un punto, los programas de VA, y esto es bien importante porque normalmente nos preguntan, VA, this is a very important regarding VA. You only have to occupy the home the first 12 months. That's the only rule. So we get that question a lot. What if I move out after, what if I get orders to leave? So long as you occupy the home, or you intend to occupy for the first 12 months, if you happen to be changed to another station, you can sell, right? Or keep the home as a rental. So there's nothing against that, nothing in the VA loan or guidelines that prevents you from converting your home to a rental or to sell.
It's really important, and state of mind is incredibly important when it comes to buying a house. Feeling comfortable with who you're working with, the conversations that you're having is important to who you're dealing with. Us at this table have been there, done that twice over. So we know what we're talking about. We've helped hundreds of families, close to thousands of families between us all. And we want to be those people for you, right? Your mortgage and real estate professional. Please call us, please DM us, check us out on Instagram and YouTube. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. We're here to help. It can be a scary process, but if you're able to inform and educate yourself through the process, I promise you, you'll feel that much better about. So that was quick. We're at the end of our show. I just want to say thank you all for taking the time out to listen to us and hang out with us and watch us. You'll be meeting Diego soon. You want to see a magic trick? Poof! I made Ricardo disappear. We'll be seeing Ricardo soon. Thank you all again for hanging out with us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.